Hey guys, welcome back. Me again. I'm going to be touching a very sensitive subject. A subject I think it might be better that we talk about. And I know a lot of times this subject kind of gets blown out, or a lot of people don't want it to come to light, and a lot of people do want it to come to light. But I personally think that it would be a shame that we don't talk about it. And that is depression and suicide and dealing with life, with social disorders, all of that. I might do this as a 2-part or 3-part video because I do have a lot to say on the matter. But for the first part, I'm going to be talking about depression and why, and my views on it, and my personal experiences with it. Well, for starters, I don't consider myself an overly depressed person. I don't usually get sad about things, and yes, sometimes I do get very passionate and emotional about certain subjects and events that happen to me in my life. And there's a lot of stress with having to deal with a job that doesn't pay well, or a coworker who's bothering you, or friends and family who seem to be splitting away from you. And yeah, I know how it feels to be alone. And you think you're alone, but I want to let you know, and I know this is said a lot, you aren't. One of the realizations that I came across in my life was how I wasn't alone was through tabletop gaming. And to go into full detail about it, I have to let you know that I, as a kid, suffered a lot from social disorders, and I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't go up to a cashier and order something. I couldn't go up and pay for anything, I couldn't do basic human things in modern society that I really wanted to do. And there was something inside of me that said, you gotta learn how to do this, Luke. You've gotta learn how to do it. But you're going to be scared the rest of your life. And that was a haunting thing. It was terrifying to try to change for the world. And I always lived my life thinking that you should be you. And I understand that some people want to stay with sorry for this term, with the flock, or with the other group of people, but I think you should be who you are. You shouldn't fake who you are inside. And yeah, you can share similarities, you can share opinions and viewpoints, but overall you are you. And I don't want to sound all mushy or emotional about this, but I'm being serious in this, and I think we should all discuss how it is to feel with depression. Okay, so with social disorders aside, depression, I think I've gone through a mild form of it as kind of like a roller coaster. It's been up and down in my life for several years. And it was only until I hit the middle years of high school that it hit. And it drastically hit me, personally. And trying to go through that alone was even worse. I mean, I was this kid in the school surrounded by other people, but I never felt more alone in my entire life. It was a terrible but very enlightening experience for me. Because I knew by the end of it that I was strong enough to fight it myself, and I know that there are others out there who can, but they tell themselves that they're not. And I know some people legitimately cannot fight off their depression. They can't legitimately rationalize how to fight it, and that's what I'm here to tell you, is you can. You personally are your best friend. You have to see that. You can't always live your life by everybody else. You have to live it for you. And even if you have already noticed this, if you've already realized that, you want to live life, for you, and you think it's not good enough, just remember that there are others out there with you. There are people out there who will support you. There are people out there who will listen and care for you. But you gotta open up and let them in. And that was one thing that I had a problem with. And maybe this isn't everybody else's experience, and I'm not claiming it is, but in my experience, I never talked to people about my problems. People I know, my family, and sometimes my friends I will, but most importantly, it was my family, and it's wrong. Don't do that. You should let your family in on your problems, and it's been such a big help after I've realized my mistake in that field, that I can make a difference in my life and in their lives by opening up. To give you an example, I never used to talk with anybody about anything, and then I met my best friend, Art. Well, his name's Arthur, but I call him Art. And he helped me out through a lot in my life. And I mean, we would walk around, we would talk about things, he'd be there to listen to me on the days where I felt so alone in this world. And you can't ask for a better friend. And I know there are ways you can find those friends, guys. There are ways you can find those people. It doesn't even matter if it's a family member. Family members can be your best friends too. You know, let's say you have a loving brother, a loving sister, a loving cousin, loving aunt, uncle, you know, all these people who are very close to you. Let them in. Trust me, these are the first steps you have to take. And yes, it's going to be a long battle. I'm not here to try and, you know, candy coat it, but I don't want you guys to feel bad, but it is going to be a battle. I still kind of fight with slight depression sometimes, but I get over it usually with the thought of where I can go and what I want to do in my life. And that's actually one of the things that makes me feel depressed. And I think in my case, I'm very lucky that that's my only issue in depression. And I know others are unfortunately not that case. There's a lot, it's multi-layered forms of depression. You know, this leads to that, and that leads to this. And it's just an endless vicious cycle. And some people feel as if they don't have any room in this world, and they do. People are important. You know, it doesn't matter if you are young, fat, skinny. You know, you are a person. You are worth something. And I'm sorry I, you know, use those terms, you know, that might be upsetting to people. And I personally do not look at people that way. I don't go up and say, oh, yeah, there's that guy. He's really big. No. Most of the time, actually, the only reason why it's ever pointed out to me, I mean, yeah, I'm not dumb. I can see people's shapes. I can see people's skin color. But I don't characterize them by that. But with all that aside, it's important for you guys to seek help. And let's say maybe you don't want to talk to friends. You don't want to talk to family. It's too embarrassing for you. That's understandable. But there are a lot of help hotlines. There are a lot of help, you know, phone numbers for, you know, antidepressant and all this stuff for you that you can take, you can listen to, you can talk to. I mean, there are people who get they make a living off of listening to people who are depressed and trying to help them be better. And to me, the fact that that occupation exists already gives me hope. You know what I mean? The fact that there is an occupation out there to try and help people feel better about themselves. You know, and I'm not just talking about therapists. I'm not talking about psychologists. I'm talking about a large plethora of people. And I mean, it's just as simple as trying to see it for yourself. You have to experience life on your own level. And if you feel like your own level is not good enough, you need to seek help. I mean, if this depression is gnawing away at you and eating away at you and you feel like you can't do anything about it, that's when you have to go. I mean, I'd rather you do it in the first stages of it, but if it starts hitting that bad, you have to seek help. There's no other way. Now, well, I'm probably going to go on to part 2 after this, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope you guys listen. And remember, it's a two-way battle. People who have depression, listen to them. If you're friends with someone who you know is depressed, talk to them. Listen to them. Don't be aggressive about it. Just open up and let them in. I really hope you guys enjoyed part 1. Thank you all, and have a great week.